Which city has the best stadiums in the world? I'm sure that's a question that's kept you up at night. Personally, I think there's a clear winner, which I'll save till the end of the video. But there is plenty of competition. Here are the stadium capitals of the world. Istanbul, Turkey. The city that straddles two continents has some incredible football stadiums. A lot of them are fairly new as well. It has 3 of Turkey's top 5 biggest stadiums, including Turkey's national stadium. It may come as a bit of a surprise to hear that Istanbul has never hosted the Olympics or being part of a World Cup, despite being a world-renowned city and having a huge population, which is a bit of a shame. Moscow, Russia is a city that's hosted both the Olympics and World Cup matches. It's also the biggest city in the biggest European country, so it's bound to have some extraordinary stadiums. And it does. A couple of them are very unique as well, especially this one with the attached high-rise building and this 2-in-1 stadium and arena. Los Angeles, USA. Just like the people of LA, the stadiums of LA are a diverse bunch. Unlike the people though, none of the stadiums are made of plastic. Actually, the roof on SoFi Stadium might be plastic. Okay, scratch that. The city has 2 teams in every major US league, if you include the teams based in Anaheim, so of course it has some great stadiums, including the world's most expensive stadium and the world's biggest baseball stadium. Houston, USA. Well, it comes as no surprise that there are plenty of American football stadiums in this Texas city. An NFL team and 2 FBS college teams play in Houston. There's also an interesting baseball stadium and an excellent MLS stadium, as well as a derelict multi-purpose stadium that's no longer in use. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Not just Buenos Aires, but Buenos Estadios as well. They may not be the most modern stadiums in the world, but there are a ton of them. That's because the city has around 24 professional football clubs, one of the highest concentrations of any city in the world. And they have a bit of character as well, especially the iconic La Bombonera. Melbourne, Australia. It's basically the opposite of Buenos Aires. It's a case of quality over quantity. There are 3 world-class stadiums, shared by like 14 different teams. There's also the Australian Open tennis facilities and a few relics of a bygone era that are no longer used for professional sports. Sydney, Australia. Well, I included Melbourne, so I have to include Sydney, I guess. Unlike in Melbourne, where Australian rules football is dominant, rugby league is the most popular code in Sydney. Also, unlike Melbourne, there are a lot of suburban stadiums that are still being used by professional teams. There's also a brand new stadium in Parramatta, and of course the stadium from the 2000 Olympics. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Overall, these stadiums are some of my favourite on this list. There are a couple of modern stadiums, including the incredible Allianz Parque, and this interesting stadium that was built for the 2014 World Cup, as well as some quirky older stadiums. And I love a quirky stadium. Pretty much all of them are built for football, of course. It's Brazil, what do you expect? Pumpkin juice? Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, USA. I kinda cheated with this one. It's a metropolitan area made up of a few cities, but who cares? The small city of Arlington has 3 incredible stadiums, 2 of which cost over $1 billion to build. Dallas and Fort Worth still have plenty to offer as well. And even the tiny city of Frisco has a couple. Johannesburg, South Africa. Similar to Buenos Aires, all of the stadiums might not be in the best condition, but there are a lot of them. A cricket stadium, a rugby stadium, and football stadiums galore, including the biggest stadium in Africa. Mexico City. Do I really have to tell you what country it's in? The mile and a bit high city, as they don't call it, has one of the most diverse range of stadiums. There are football, baseball, and American football stadiums, and even a wrestling specific arena. They also have this billboard disguised as a stadium. I would say that putting all those giant ads on the seating is disrespecting this iconic stadium, but it actually looks kinda cool. As cool as a nice cold glass of Coca-Cola. Tokyo, Japan. I'm not going to include the entire Tokyo metro area that includes Yokohama, Chiba, etc. just because with over 30 million people, that would just be unfair. Anyway, there are so many incredible stadiums in Tokyo itself, including the stadium for the 2020 Olympics, a couple of pretty good baseball stadiums, and a couple of pretty good football stadiums. And something that every other city in this video seems to be lacking, a sumo arena. I don't know why every city doesn't have a sumo arena. It's such an underrated sport. Seeing those man boobs jiggle, I can't put it into words. It's just poetry in motion. Paris, France. You might be a little surprised about how many rugby stadiums there are in Paris. Seemingly more than there are football stadiums. As well as rugby clubs, Paris is home to their biggest football club, their national stadium, and of course, the French Open, or Roland Garros as it's also known. London, England. Well, it's gonna be pretty hard to beat London's stadiums, innit? It has so many stadiums, including England's national football stadium, their national rugby stadium, and the home of cricket, which is over 200 years old. Plus innumerable football stadiums from the Premier League to non-league. So I think due to the quality, diversity, and the sheer number of stadiums in London, it takes the number one. Wait a second. What? I'm sorry, but Calgary, Canada is so much better. The f*** are you talking about? Calgary? Yeah, Calgary. Okay, apparently Calgary is number one. It is. I'll let you explain it. Go ahead. Okay, you might be thinking, what the f***? But what we lack in the number and quality of the stadiums, we make up for with the uniqueness, eh? Like, what the f*** is this thing? What did they use that for? And this arena that looks like a Pringle. Why did they do that? Who knows? But it's what makes Calgary great, eh? Don't let them tell you otherwise. Alright mate, yeah, sure. Calgary is number one. Right, you're about as convincing as your Canadian accent. You sounded kinda like Billy Connolly towards the end. What are you talking about? Of course I'm Canadian. I love putting golden syrup on my pancakes, eh? You're an idiot. So that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments which city you think has the best stadiums. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. There's a good chance that you won't regret it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.